All right, let me go ahead and get it posted out to Facebook too here.
Okay. It's too bright.
All right, welcome everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight we have Chris Jurist joining us from Inbu Botanicals. We're going to talk about a couple things tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of focus on health and wellness, coping things. You know, Chris and I were talking before we got started tonight, and I think we all have our own levels of stress, whether it be health, whether it be personal, relationships, work, COVID, for goodness sakes. You know, I guess if I say would want one message to come away from tonight from me, and I know I'm speaking for Chris, you are not alone in your struggle, for one. So if you need some help, don't be afraid to ask a friend, ask your pharmacist, ask your doctor, ask someone, okay, for one thing. We don't want you to be alone in your struggle. The other thing is don't assume that all solutions come in a prescription bottle. You know, there's a lot of solutions out there that we can share, and we're going to share some tonight, which are nutrition focused, they're supplement focused, maybe it's meditation and yoga, you know, focused. It could be a number of different things to help you get a better package of how to be healthy and well. So please encourage, you know, ask questions of us as best as possible. We'll touch on them. If we don't get to them during our program, what we'll do is I'll do a follow-up post and I'll cover everything everybody is looking for, or I can reach out to you after the program. But I'm really pleased to have Chris joining us tonight. He has a wealth of knowledge in many areas, but specifically, Chris's wealth of knowledge is in the CBD area. So if you have questions about CBD and supplements, and you want to learn more about what is it for me? Is it safe? Am I going to get high? This is the perfect conversation. And I'm going to try to pepper in some solutions that we have at the pharmacy that aren't your traditional prescription options. So, you know, we do custom compounding at the pharmacy, which means we can help tailor solutions to you that with your doctor's help, we can make sure we meet your need. So it might be a food allergy. Maybe you're allergic to lactose, and the prescription your doctor wants you to take for your blood pressure has lactose in it. And as a result, you have a reaction. We can help you with food allergies, dye allergies. We can help with delivery systems to help minimizing stomach upset. We can help with alternative solutions like low-dose naltrexone that can help complement CBD therapies and other therapies for pain and inflammation. And so we're going to talk about a number of different things tonight. I don't want you to think that it's not necessarily a sales pitch. The goal is to be educational, to provide you with some options that you might want to learn more about. And Chris and I can be a resource to help you learn more. So with that, Chris, I'm going to turn over the screens to you, and I'm excited to hear your message and can't wait to collaborate with our listening public. So
Thank you very much, Brad. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on tonight. I appreciate all of these chances that we have to do these webinars, not only for your local community, but, you know, when we are able to post this out onto social media and have people join in regarding the message. I think real quick, just before I do share my screen, is, you know, when we started doing these years ago together and we started working together, because we've been doing this for some time now, we did have a very, you know, educational kind of 101 approach to informing, you know, your customers and the communities and whoever was listening in about, you know, the basics of CBD. And what CBD can provide as far as benefits, and, you know, how it's grown and how it's extracted and manufactured, and what to look for and what not to look for, and certificates of analysis, and organic and no additives and fillers and all that good stuff. And we've gotten that message out there. And I think there's a large population now, a large percentage that understands that and is still learning, because it definitely is ever changing. But as a company at Inbu Botanicals, we have evolved. We've evolved alongside our partners, the conversations that we continue to have at a high level with doctors and practitioners and medical professionals. We listen to our partners. We understand what their pain points are. We want to create a product line that continues to offer choices, continue to create regimens and programs for them where they introduce new alternative ways or additives into their current regimen of taking, whether it be their current medicines or supplements. And what we've positioned ourselves as is we have really started to focus on becoming a true health and wellness company. So we are a CBD company at heart for sure, but we are a health and wellness company because we are focused on that overall program. We know that, CBD is not one size fits all. And we know that all of us and how we approach our supplements, medicine, our exercise and everything, and how we metabolize things is completely different than the next person. And we want to make that clear that we're talking about precision care approach. So I'm going to share my screen now real quick and be able to bring that up so I can show you what we're doing. It's not giving me the option. It's not giving me the file option, Brad. When I do it, there it's.
Well, I've got you. All panelists can share. Let's
let me
have a look
see if
here.
This is it. Let me see share if I can do that. There you go. Do you see? Okay. Can you see that?
I see a white screen. Maybe you need to pick a desktop or a full window, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it didn't give me the desktop option. It gave me only whiteboard.
Huh, okay.
Huh.
Well,
yeah, that's sorry for the technical difficulties here, but yeah, when I click on it, it only gives me whiteboard. So let me try it again. Let me see if I can do it through files or advanced. I'm going to do it this way. I got it, I think, through here. This should work. So anyways, while it loads, it's trying to load through PowerPoint right now. There we go. You see it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it kind of took me away. I don't know why it's putting me in the background like that.
I don't either. That's kind of odd.
It's very strange. So what I'm going to do is this. I think if I just go like that, and is it fit to screen or is it?
Yeah, it's full screen.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, that's really been our approach over the last 2 years, year and a half during the pandemic. We've had the ability to kind of reassess some of the things that we were doing, and not that we were doing anything that we didn't want to. We just wanted to expand. We wanted to evolve, and we wanted to create more opportunities for different categories, new products, more options, if you will, expand into new categories. So as I mentioned, we are really becoming a health and wellness company. And, that has, allowed us to only amplify what our major features are, and continue down new categories. So I don't want to focus, like you said, so much on the sale pitch of Inbu and CBD, but these are things that, that are, a part of our major features that people should know about us. And whether you're taking, another CBD product or other products, this is kind of a good, view of what you should look for in products these days when you're talking about organic, healthy approaches, how things are grown. And as I was mentioned earlier, how things are extracted, how things are built and formulated, making sure that they are clean and there's no side effects, making sure that you're compliant as a company. And that's what you want to have. You want to have quality in your body, certificates of analysis and information and education that supports a program like that, because everyone is becoming a lot smarter about what they're choosing. They're being more careful, especially with the pandemic that sat in front of us. It allowed people to, I guess, understand a bit more of what they were susceptible to. When you talked about how the pandemic and how COVID was attacking people, with certain ailments, or, whether they had diabetes or they were obese, or, they had an autoimmune disorder, or they were suffering from going through something severe like cancer or MS or whatever, and they were more susceptible because of their immune system being compromised. It started to allow people to educate themselves a bit more on what they needed to do, right? They started to think about how I should approach my diet, making sure that they are eating properly, making sure that they, we're putting in the right kind of ingredients into their diet or into their dinners, their meals. It also allowed people to think about doing exercise more regularly. Weekly always is a great option just to get your heart rate going, being able to, get the blood flow moving and sweating out the toxins, and, doing a proper approach to your overall health and wellness. And that's where Inbu focuses largely on their product set as a company, what we do, me and my partners, what categories we want to focus on, because all of the elements of our body are important. All of the things that we're discussing, whether it be sleep, diet, exercise, stress, anxieties, specific ailments that you might be going through, it's all important about how to balance those out. So we talk about balance, we talk about what is going to push the needle, if you will, and what those pain points might be. We talk about how it affects the receptor groups that sit within our body. And this is, I don't want this to be the focus of some CBD education. I want everyone to know tonight that your body is built up of millions and millions of receptors. And there are receptor groups within your body that are focused on different parts of your body. This particular receptor group that we talk about in the CBD space, the reason why we talk so much about it, Brad, and community and people who are listening, is because it is the mother receptor group. It is the first receptor group that is born in your body. It is actually developed before your brain is even developed. It is connected to all major receptor groups in your system, where we talk about nervous system, peripheral organs, subreceptor groups, and so on. So it's important for balance. The reason why we talk so much about this is because the CBD products that we develop specifically are full spectrum CBD products that are all of the cannabinoid profiles and all of the ingredients and nutrients and terpene profiles to connect to this system to drive balance. And that is the key word, is balance. We want receptor balance. We're so accustomed to, Brad, in the pharmaceutical space, and you mentioned this earlier, in which I think was such a great way to kick off tonight's meeting, was that it's not always about a pharmaceutical in a bottle that you pick up as a prescription. It's not always about that. It's not telling you to remove it or just change it overnight, but there are things that can help support it, help increase those benefits, help add to those. And why CBD has over the last 5 to 8 years become such a huge traction is because the benefits are becoming clear and they're becoming very specific, and products are being designed very carefully around what a person's needs are specifically. And this identifies with overall health and wellness and overall precision care that you talk about, right? The fact that you're a compounding pharmacy, the fact that you can suggest alternatives, not only from an OTC to a prescription to a compounding medicine, create a health regimen and become your community's coach is such a positive and special thing that you offer as not only a partner of ours, but a support to your community, that they can rely on you and they can come to you and talk to you and have a shoulder, to kind of lean on. And you know this from growing up in this space. When you used to go into your community pharmacy, you would find, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Murphy or whoever hanging out in there for an hour and just talking to you because it felt good. Someone was listening. They were able to talk about what they were going through, and then suggestions and support was provided. That's what full spectrum CBD does. That's what Inbu Botanicals does. That's why we create the precision care approach to our product lineup. Why we offer, so much education around health and wellness, and that CBD actually becomes an adjunct into their overall program. It's not the magic bullet. We don't want anyone to get the perception that, oh, I take CBD and I'm going to be able to walk on water and everything else goes away. It's not how it works. And I think it's really important how you even mentioned earlier about low dose naltrexone, because that and CBD have tremendous synergies together, working off 2 different receptor groups, providing overall support to many receptor groups at once, rather than a traditional pharmaceutical, fighting its way through to get to one specific receptor and hopefully not damaging too bad, but other receptors in its path. LDN does not do that, either does CBD, and that's why they're so synergistic together. Where LDN, we know, and the community should know, who might come to you and ask you about it. It really works off of your endorphins, and then you have full spectrum CBD coming in through your endocannabinoid system, and their similarities of approach are so exciting that used together, they are only amplifying each other's benefits. And we talk a lot about that with our wholesale partners, our pharmacies, and our GPO groups and things that we're a part of, about getting the message out this way, because conversations are needed, and it can take 5 minutes and you can change somebody's life. We offer, as you saw earlier, I'm sorry to go past it, we offer a whole host of tinctures at Inbu that vary from different milligrams. We offer capsules that are used for specific things as well. We do broad spectrum products. We do all sorts of gummies that are all natural, organic, tapioca based, just full spectrum, unbelievable, perform excellent gummies. We're doing lotions and salves and balms and high level salves as well that are available, face creams, beauty creams. But this is where we're getting exciting for your community, Brad, and what you'll be able to offer your community very soon is our Inbu RX product line, which is basically a professional line that we built only for our wholesale partners. And this is going to offer elevated formulations with CBG and CBN because of what those specific benefits are with CBD and CBN. And we can touch more on those, but CBG is excellent for, even things like bone stimulation and antibacterial, and CBD and CBN is really good for calming and relaxing the body. So it adds another level of care when somebody is talking about stress and anxieties that we're all facing today. And you mentioned that earlier. We're also overwhelmed right now, whether it be in life, in business, family health, could be money, could be wanting to provide, could be even just personal stresses and anxieties that we go through. And there is an importance and there is a need to put forth a program, but also, like, as you said, be supportive in conversation and being able to, lean on people and ask questions and what can help you. It's not, you don't have to be afraid to ask what can help me. What should I be doing? Do you have any suggestions for me that can make an impact on my life, whether it be my health or my mind, that's going to get me through the day and make me feel better, because it's all about quality of life. But at the end of the day, we want to be here for our families. We don't want to have the feeling of defeat or that you're stressed and overwhelmed and you want to give up. So there's a lot that goes into health and wellness, and that's why tonight I think is so important. It's not just about CBD, even though we're bringing through CBD, and we're going to talk more about supplements and things like that. Just showing options that we have. We're even coming out with CBD mouthwash and toothpaste. That is just unreal. We did a massive event with Perio Protect, who's highly regarded in the dental space for doing periodontal trays and fighting periodontal disease. And we presented this to a group of over 350 dentists that just absolutely love what we were presenting because of the benefits of oral health. And I think that's another thing to talk about. It's overall health and wellness, right? Tonight we're talking about, and it could be as simple as making sure that your teeth and your gums don't have any issues and disease, or taking care of, your root canals and your crowns and whatever you need to do to make sure that you are not dealing with, gingivitis or, periodontal issues and disease or gum disease, because it can affect your overall heart. It can affect your overall health. It can affect your blood and other things within your body, even your nervous system. Having oral health be intact is huge. So we've created these products, and this is why it's important also that you're talking about more products, Brad. We just recently launched honey CBD tinctures with supplements, all natural supplements in them, because of what these supplements offer. What hibiscus is doing to your overall health, what elderberry is doing for your overall health with immune. We know what lemon provides. We know what ginger can provide for your overall health and balance. Matcha green tea for antioxidants. Golden turmeric, which is great for inflammation and helping with reducing pain. And then we do a superfood honey for just overall health. That honey's natural ingredients can help provide your body. We've noticed this as a company that for us to be able to offer more and more to our customers to help balance out their bodies and provide support in so many different categories, that we needed to expand. We needed to continue to grow. We needed to continue to learn from them as we continue to educate them and educate ourselves in all of these spaces. And quite frankly, if it weren't for guys like you, Brad, and our pharmacy partners, our compounding and independents, and our doctors and practitioners and integrated medicine professionals that we work with, we wouldn't have been able to grow the way that we have, because we've listened, we've learned, and we've also provided back because of all of that learning. And it just continues to grow with even higher strength products that we're continuing to get out there, because we know that higher strength products do have a place when they're done properly, specifically in the full spectrum space, because of people that might be going through high level things like, even cancer treatments, MS. And not that this is a cure or an answer for it. It's a support for pain. It's a support for nausea. It's a support for certain things. And there's no claims in here that it's going to do any one thing specific. It's just a support to the body's system. And, we've seen tremendous benefits, and we've seen tremendous reviews and results from it. And we continue, like I said, to provide that education, results, and grow and learn. And that's really what's made us actually, one of the leaders in the industry. We've been, in the space now for over 6 years. We just recently won GHP's 2021. It's a global notification award for nutrition and fitness. We won CBD, company of the year for them for 2021. We've been highly reviewed and regarded, and awards and accolades throughout our time. And those are all wonderful, and we're very grateful for all of those. But our focus is, taking care of people, making sure that, we can make a difference in their lives, make an improvement, move the needle for them, and really work with them individually, and continue to, like I said, grow with product sets that are going to really make an impact on their lives. I'm going to turn the screen back to you just so I can join you. I can also share this with you, Brad, later, and we can, for people that request it, we can, send out an abridged version, or some more information. We can always provide some information through you, letting your community and others know that Inbu Botanicals products and our education and our support is with you and your stores in your different locations, to support you and do, conversations, discussions, coaching, seminars, webinars, even community outreach from time to time when you do special events. We're here for you. But I want to turn it back to you because I want to open up the floor for our discussion, what we're seeing, and answer some questions that might be coming through. And, if you guys, feel that you don't want to bring your question out, up on screen to us today publicly, you can always direct message Brad or myself, so we can talk privately if you are not comfortable. Obviously, your name doesn't have to be represented out when you ask a question. We can just talk generally, but we just want to know that, you have an outlet as well for that. Thank you.
All right, very, very good. Yes. So, just this week in the pharmacy, okay? And I think it's been building all year long. I think in our communities, everyone has different levels of stress. So the first thing I want to talk about stress, we touched on at the beginning. So, we've had patients come into the pharmacy that have lots going on. We mentioned earlier in the program, it could be relationships, it could be work, it could be health, it could be any number of things. And there's a lot of things as a pharmacist I can recommend for patients to do. You turn on the TV and you see these ads that make you think you need some of these expensive prescription medications, and I'm not necessarily certain that that's perfect for every patient. There's certainly things that certain people need in their certain situation, and your doctor or physician can help you with that. But there's also things you can do that other things. So, when someone comes in the pharmacy and wants to know about stress, a lot of times I ask them simple questions like, tell me about your diet, how much coffee you're drinking, how many Diet Cokes do you throw down a day? Are you hitting the sweets and the candy and things? Because all those things can kind of exacerbate that. But then when you get beyond that and you find out, well, I can't sleep at night because I'm so wound up. That's where I think CBD can have an excellent adjunct into helping some people support both anxiety maybe during the day and maybe helping them get a more restful night's sleep. So can you address what your feelings are on the best way to approach that, Chris? And maybe I can follow up with some real life examples of some patients we've talked to.
Yeah, I can. I think first what you just said, honestly, the question spot is so important, right? Start to ask questions, because I think when you ask the questions, it allows the patient or customer or whoever it may be that you're having these conversations with, start to stop for a second and say, wait a minute, I did eat 4 candy bars today, and I did have 5 sodas, and maybe that's not right. And I seem to be eating a lot of red meat lately. And there's there's definitely some positives there, because it allows us to stop. We're all moving so quickly, and we don't pay attention so much to the things that we do. The stress thing is interesting, because I don't think a lot of people realize that when you stress, and what it can do to your overall health is tremendous, because it can not only exacerbate things, but it can trigger things. It can create something that wasn't there. And it can also create inflammation around something that is there and underlying, and bring it out, that you might not want there. And that could be, it could be something like psoriasis, or eczema, or something that triggers an enzyme in your body to release, and say like, oh my God, this is my reaction, my outlet to get out, because this is what's created it. It happens a lot with a lot of things. And then you talk about anxiety and stresses kind of come hand in hand a little bit, because someone who deals with stress and then internalizes it, someone who's creating the external effect, is someone who is having a rough time with the anxiety from that stress, and then it becomes really visible, and it can become shaky and hard to manage, and that can look like a lot of different things. It can come in a lot of different forms. So I would say you're spot on with your approach, right? And then coming up with the regimen of what you want to do can be so many things. It can be, all right, let's talk about your supplements. Let's talk about including CBD. Are you getting enough exercise and sleep and things like that? But the first way to approach it is from our perspective, when somebody asks us, what product would you suggest, or how would you go about it? We think initially about calming that person down, right? Is this something that is happening at the end of the night? Is this something that's happening in the day? Are you feeling these anxieties and stresses periodically throughout the day? How can we manage and balance that? Is it something where we're going to, do CBD all throughout the day, and we're going to just kind of titrate all the way through, microdose, if you will? Or are we going to start your day off with a 25 milligram gummy, or a capsule, or a tincture, dropper, and then, we'll take a little bit more after lunch, and then maybe we'll take a large dose of it, before we go to sleep, so that we can make sure that we calm down and go to bed. A lot of times when the stresses, anxieties happen, Brad, and look, you could just start to see how everything is connecting. All the dots are kind of firing off each other. Is then all of a sudden I have a sleep disorder. I can't sleep. My mind can't shut down. I can't relax. I'm overwhelmed. And then you wake up and you feel exhausted. You feel you're overtired. You're starting off your day negative. And then what's starting to happen now is things are just compounding. So we have to digress sometimes, slow down, and then reassess the whole process. How can I make small changes, not one big drastic that's going to do it? How can I make small changes that I feel comfortable with, that I can manage, that can build a program for myself, and then grow into something where, it starts to take a life of its own. And then all of a sudden you're in it, because you're creating a habit from it. It's like someone who, bites their nails, and you try to get them to stop biting their nails. You don't want them to bite your nails. It's bad for them, and it's kind of maybe, not pleasant. And you want them to stop. And how can you do it? And creating a routine to change their behavior, it takes time. And that's why we also say when you take CBD, allow that 30 days to get into your body before you really start judging, oh, it's not working for me. We all have different stress levels and anxiety levels and pain levels and things like that to our health and wellness. And it takes time to shift things. And you know that very well with the medicines that you dispense, the medicines that you compound and develop, what you see with your LDN patients, what you see when somebody takes a supplement, how vitamin D can play a key role in somebody's reaction to a medicine, because vitamin D plays a key role in a lot of things in our body's balance. This is how we approach our phone calls and our emails and our discussions. And we know that this can sound overwhelming, Brad, sometimes, or sound like a lot of information, but that's why we do it in drips and drabs with them and make sure they feel comfortable. Make sure they don't feel too overwhelmed by those discussions. We start out slow, definitely allow for questions and create, the best response possible, point them in the direction for the education, and treat them as individuals. And that's the way that I think we all need care, honestly. We need somebody to be able to talk to, like you said, and somebody who's going to listen and develop something.
Yeah, a couple of things you mentioned that I think is important to bring up. So, we talked a little bit about anxiety and maybe not sleeping well. And the first thing that comes to mind is there's an awful lot of people that rely on that Xanax or that anti-anxiety product to help them cope, okay? And I'm not saying that product doesn't have a time and a place for everyone. However, it's really a Band-Aid, okay? It's not really solving your problem. So it's one of those things that can help you cope and get through some tough times, but you speak to routines, and I think routines are really important to think about with respect to a number of things. The easiest one might be your preparing to go to sleep routine. Yeah. So, there's really good research right now that shows you really ought to start to prepare for bed about an hour before you go to bed. You ought to turn off the screens, phones, TVs, whatever. That blue light really can mess with your mind and keep your brain firing, even though you don't think it is and you're just passively watching. So, best bedtime sleep habit routine would be turn off the screens half an hour, at minimum an hour before you go to bed. Don't have any caffeinated products after 6 o'clock at night. Coffees, teas, carbonated beverages, those can cause some problems. Even if you don't go to bed till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, they could still have some residual effects. Oftentimes meals late in the day can cause a problem. Even exercising after 7 o'clock at night could cause some enhanced issues with getting to sleep.
Because now you're firing on that adrenaline and the endorphins are firing and
So, and then you ought to have an environment that's conducive to sleep. So, especially if you don't have what I would call a normal sleep schedule. So if you don't go to bed, if you have a swing shift type of situation where you work days and nights, then you've got a whole nother issue we could talk about off air. But, you want to make sure your room is dark. You don't have a lot of lights, noise, stuff like that. And really, I think it's
even wear the eye patch, the mask over, because I know where you're going here. That REM sleep, right? We want to get to REM, and it's very tough for people to get there. I love what you're saying. Keep it going.
Yeah. So and then some people, there's debate on whether or not it's good to read. I'm going to say it's not. Maybe you want to listen to I personally enjoy the Headspace app. You could listen to 3 to 5 minutes of like a kind of a calming meditation, if you will, and kind of turn off each body part so you can prepare yourself for rest. But let's say you do all that and it still doesn't get you to where you need to be. Maybe you just can't stop thinking about things you got to do the next day. Maybe in that case, you need to take out a piece of paper and write down everything you're thinking about so you kind of have that brain dump on paper, and then maybe that can give you some ease. But you know what? You still might need something else to help you get to sleep or get a restful night's sleep. And we've seen some patients, this isn't, I can't say that CBD cures sleeplessness. We're not here to cure anything tonight. We're here to support you. So I can tell you that I've seen patients do well that have sleeping difficulties by using some CBD. And Chris mentioned earlier, it could be in a number of different forms. I think if you haven't tried it before, I'd recommend you start with a tincture. You start with a lower dose, and then you give it. We all want instant gratification, but it doesn't always happen. Maybe the first dose helps you, but maybe we need to look at titrating that dose up over the course of a couple days. That also, one thing I didn't say about routine, it's really best if you try to go to bed at the same time every night and get up at the same time every day. If you're going to bed one night at 8 o'clock and one night at 10 o'clock and one night at midnight, you're going to be a hot mess. So, keep to a schedule. Schedules help. But CBD can really help you get a more restful night's sleep if you're having some trouble kind of sleeping through the night, in my opinion. We've seen some patients that have really benefited from that. And probably the most common uses I've seen in the pharmacy are anxiety, sleeplessness, and pain. And we can talk about pain here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, it's just when we get ramped up with that stress level, our cortisol levels go up. And the best example I can give you is if you're driving down the road and some turkey pulls out in front of you unexpected, and you stop quickly, and every cell in your body becomes alerted, and you're fired up and frustrated and probably doing things you shouldn't be doing and saying things you shouldn't be saying. But when you're under constant stress, your body's building that same level of attention, if you will, to detail over time to the point where you may not realize it.
And it releases that.
So yeah, you may be under a stress level and you think, oh, this is just my life, I'm tough, I can handle it. Well, maybe, but for how long? How long until that other event happens and then you fall off that cliff? So, as far as during the day, Chris mentioned CBD can be a complement. We have solutions for many types of patients. Sometimes healthcare workers or workers who have regular drug tests at work. We have some CBD products where you don't have to worry about having issues with your drug tests. You may not have problems with a drug test at all with a proper CBD product, but over a long period of time, you could possibly have some buildup in your system.
Yeah, we've with ours over the last 6 years. I mean, honestly, if any, maybe once. Like,
yeah,
I think your body, I think that's a great way when you're talking about titrating up and starting out low. I think it's important that you mention that, because some of us want, to think that I'm going to take the strongest and I need the strongest.
More is better.
Now. Yeah, more is better, and I got to do it now. Your body doesn't respond that way. Your body, because of how it metabolizes, it's very different from the next person. You could have the same exact ailment, the same exact issues that you think you do, but your bodies are very different. And, I might need the 25 milligram, to go to bed at night, but someone might need, 10 milligrams or 5 milligrams. Starting your day out, feeling those anxieties and stresses and overwhelmingness to get your day going, and you want a little something to just keep you calm. Sometimes, people are going to respond better maybe to the tincture versus somebody responding better to the capsule because of the way that their gut is going to digest it, or even the gummy for that matter, because you're getting kind of that dual approach absorption where you're getting a mucosal approach of absorption and down into your gut as well. So you're getting both absorptions happening, and it's a really nice product. The gummy is super responsive, and you can even bite off little pieces throughout the day so that you can continue to get what you need. So we have a 10 milligram and a 25, and we're actually going to be launching a 50 milligram gummy in the coming weeks. So we're super excited about that, because then it really gives you a nice boost either throughout the day, like the pieces, or you can do 25, however you want to do it. But one gummy a day is got a tremendous amount of power through it. But the good thing to know is that there are options, guys. There's ways to regiment, there are ways to dose, and there are different modalities of taking products, whether it's a gummy, a tincture, a capsule. For internal, there's a salve, a lotion, and other products that are external, that you can get your CBD into your body and get the benefits and begin to get relief and support. And like we've said tonight, and I think it's important, is that we're leaning on CBD a little bit here, but we're going to start to graduate a little bit more into not only how CBD can help with pain or other issues, but also making sure that your supplements in your life are balanced. Whether you're taking your multivitamin or you're taking singular vitamins like vitamin D, E, C, whatever it may be. Even taking things like zinc during this time are super important, because of how it supports your overall immune system, and then how it is good during these COVID times. Those are important. Making sure you're drinking enough water during the day. Water is not only good to flush out your body, but it's also really good for the largest receptor on your body, which is your skin. Mm-hmm. It's excellent for your overall skin's health. These are things that you guys have access to, not only through Brad and the Medicine Center pharmacies. You have access through this through conversations and education and materials and discussions with Inbu Botanicals. But also these things are at your fingertips by just being more aware of what's going on in your life and you wanting to learn more. This tonight, as Brad said, is supportive. It's educational. We're here for you guys overall. We just want to see people, being successful with their health and getting better, because we know how important that is.
Let's talk a little bit about pain. Okay, so in the pharmacy, we see all varieties of pain for patients. We have patients that come in that have arthritis pain. We have patients that come in with lower back pain. Maybe they were in a car accident or were injured in some freak accident. But if we start with something, it's not simple, but maybe something like arthritis, okay? There's a number of prescription options we have for arthritis. There's some oral medications, there's some topical, there's things we compound. If you're somebody who takes, if Aleve works well for you, for example, for arthritis, that's great, but sometimes that's really hard in the stomach. Yep. So, we can do things in topical delivery through the skin where you bypass that stomach issue. You don't have to worry about it raising your blood pressure, raising your blood sugar. It can go direct to the site. So if it's your elbow, if it's your knee, we can target things topically to that. Yeah. It's a discussion that we can do custom for you. I mean, I can tell you that, usually the nice thing about a cream we can make is we can put 2 or 3 ingredients in it, target it to inflammation and maybe some topical anesthetic and maybe something for nerve pain, where, they don't make anything like that commercially. So instead of using one topical product, you might have to take 3 oral medications and then you feel like a mess. CBD is a solution too. And so is something we could talk about LDN maybe here for a little bit.
LD. I was just going to say, when you're talking about compounding, Brad,
so
LDN into your topicals.
Yeah, so low-dose naltrexone and topical pain creams and topical CBD can be something that, maybe if you just have arthritis that is really stubborn and you've been to the doctor and you've tried half a dozen things, maybe you're even using the $1,000 a month products that are injected in things. Maybe you're getting some relief. Maybe you're not getting as much relief as you'd like. CBD and LDN are complements that can be used with an arthritis pain or any type of, almost any type of pain, really. And it's kind of like a different mechanism. So maybe the best example I can give you is you might be able to get to the store by walking. You might be able to get to it by riding a bike. Or you might be able to get to it by driving in your car. 3 different ways to get there, but you can still get to the store regardless. Yep. And a lot of times we can take approaches with CBD or LDN or a topical pain cream, and they all work different ways, but they can help support you and get you relief in ways that no one can do on its own. And put together, it's a synergistic solution. Yep. So, we've touched on LDN a couple times. For those who aren't familiar with LDN is low-dose naltrexone. It is an off-label use for an FDA-approved drug, which has shown over hundreds and hundreds of articles from research institutions like Stanford, Penn State, Harvard. There is proven studies that it can be helpful to support pain and autoimmune disease situations, inflammation. There's a number of different applications, from dermatology to multiple sclerosis to fibromyalgia. Even some mental health issues, Hashimoto's, thyroid issues. Yep. I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true. So I guess what I would say to the listeners tonight, if you have any type of autoimmune disease and you've been to multiple doctors and you're still frustrated with your progress, you need to come talk to us, and we can give you some one-on-one time, and we can show you some research that may be applicable to your particular situation. But it's also something that, CBD can be great for anti-inflammatory and something to help with pain. And it's something you can do tomorrow. You can come in the pharmacy and say, I have pain. What would you recommend I start with? And we can go through a discussion to give you our best guess of a recommendation. So
Correct.
we already talked about arthritis, so you could do it just topically.
I
But
think, Brad, I think you bring up an interesting point though, where you could take it a step further for them, because, and you will, because you've done this, but meaning for tonight, for the listener, it's important to know that the formulation matters. It's the formulation too. So CBD is a piece of it. There's a reason why we say CBD is not the magic bullet, because there's other things that support its work, its efforts. So when we do our salves and our lotions, we're carefully formulating to include other things like natural essential oils that are going to penetrate and benefit as well, right? The delivery model, if you will, or delivery mode for getting that penetration through the skin is important as well, because it's a very tough area to penetrate deeply, get into the skin, into the muscle, help reduce the pains and inflammation, and support that area. Is we're using things like arnica flower, which is extremely good for bruising and inflammation to support the full spectrum CBD product. We're also using rosemary and mint and other modes to travel into your skin and your muscle to really create a quick benefit, something that works, that's not a Band-Aid, like you said earlier, where it's just not going to come back in an hour. That pain, it's going to subside. And then it allows for that person to either get up in the morning, apply it, and go to work and have support, or go to sleep at night and feel like they're going to have the right kind of sleep and go through those pains. And I'm going to bring up a personal instance right now. Two things. My partner, Tom, who really developed these topicals very carefully for us, he suffered from neuropathy and very bad neuropathy in his feet and his legs. And he developed this product around that. And it really blossomed out of the cannabis world because of what, it was heavily on the THC side of things when this started 7 years ago, just using from the cannabis plant, which have all the same cannabinoid profiles. They're just cousins of each other, and they're flip-flopped in what their amounts are in their plants, where hemp plant is very heavy in all the cannabinoid profiles and low in the THC, delta 8, delta 9, THC, A and B profiles, where cannabis plant is the opposite. It's very high in those profiles, and the other cannabinoid profiles are lower. But we developed it from there, and he started to see the pathway in that full spectrum CBD provided. And from there blossomed the product, knowing that full spectrum was the way because of how many different things all of those profiles were doing, kind of going back what you were saying. And I haven't seen too many in my professional career of being a part of the medical space and then now being in the CBD space, and what you've done in your time and in your space, that LDN and what it provides, that not many pharmaceuticals can hold a candle to, that many benefits in one product. That's kind of us on our side. They're in the supplement / organic natural product world, is that this product done right, extracted right, formulated right, and all the benefits that it offers is just astounding. And when you utilize it right, formulate it right, it can add even more because you're combining it with other things that are super beneficial. So I just wanted to quickly jump in on the formulation side of it, because it is important, and how these products are put together. Brad will tell you, compounding pharmacies are medicines that are compounded, clean, and proper to add more benefit and support to the ailment that it's being targeted for.
Well, yeah, speaking to that, so at the beginning of the program, we touched on patients who might have a food allergy, a dye allergy, or something like that. We don't put a lot of fillers and junk in the medications we make. So, if you've never heard of compounding in prescriptions before, so we can make a medicine that is pursuant to a doctor's prescription, customized for you, the patient. So that could be a capsule, it could be a tablet, it could be a lollipop, it could be a lip balm, it could be a cream, ointment, gel, it could be a suppository, it could be a nasal spray, it could be anything like that. Basically, whatever area of the body you need to deliver a medication, if we need to help you and your provider find a way to do it, we can help you work through it. And now it also kind of comes down to, we're highly regulated. I mean, in the pharmacy world, we have to be able to prove where we got a chemical. We have to be able to prove that that chemical passed testing. We have to prove that we have verification from outside labs of potency testing on that chemical. And ironically and conveniently, products that Chris offers from Inbu Botanicals isn't much different.
Nope.
Right now, I cannot pick up a prescription bottle and scan a barcode and find out what date it was manufactured, where it was manufactured, where it was tested, and all these informations. But on the CBD products, there is a nice pedigree of where it came from. And you really need to know what you're putting in your mouth or in your body or on your body, because unfortunately, there are things out there that aren't as genuine. And, it embarrasses me every time we see a news story where XYZ vitamin manufacturer was cited because their 400 unit vitamin E didn't have any vitamin E in it. I don't want to carry those kind of products in our pharmacies because I don't want to have my reputation on the line when you, the patient, have a disappointment because some company pulled a fast one. It's not right for you to spend your hard-earned money on a product and a solution that you're trying to help better yourself and find out that you've been given the runaround. So there's a lot of things we can do to make sure that we guarantee what we sell, what we have as an offering. And it is the same on the pharmacy side as it is on our CBD side. So we don't carry 17 different brands of stuff. We have Inbu Botanical stuff, and that is it, because I don't have to go chasing down certificates of analysis or proof that they've tested it for heavy metals or pesticides or it's genetically modified or any of that scary stuff. So you need to ask more questions of your providers and where your things come from. You've probably heard the organic buzzwords for your groceries and things. Well, it's time you asked where you're getting stuff at. And sometimes the cheapest isn't always the best quality. So be very careful with that.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful segue into, going into the world of testing and certificates of analysis of, how we're similar in that space because of compounding pharmacy and what you need to do, being highly regulated, highly compliant, from, your pharmacy and your sterile rooms and beyond, and the medicines that you're putting in, the ingredients that you're putting into those products. It is the same way for us where we are super careful. We actually want more regulation. We're pushing for more. The U.S. Hemp Roundtable is pushing for more regulations every day. Many state regulatory groups that are working in connection with the cannabis communities that are pushing for, whether it's on the recreational or medicinal or even on the CBD side, they want more regulation. They want more compliancy because we know that, the novelty side of this business is there. And some of those products, and I'm going to say, because I don't want to speak out of turn on any one or specific, but there's a lot of times those products are grabbed and tested and there's no CBD in them at all. There's a lot of fillers, additives, byproducts that are mimicking certain things, and they're artificial or synthetics. And that's not really what you want in a CBD product. And it's not just about, hey, I was able to get this, this gummy or this drink or this water or this whatever from the corner store, the gas station, or wherever it was. And that's where it is. And it's sad because there are some products out there that do have that novelty approach that are doing it well, because I want to say that, but there are a tremendous amount that have done it wrong. There's bad actors in there. And it's important to really check out those certificates of analysis because they may not even be from that company. They may be a date change. There may be something wrong on there. we're doing full panel on the oil. We're doing full panel on the products. We're doing, as you said, heavy metals, arsenics. We're doing, pesticides, microbial residual potencies. We're doing all of those because we know how important it is. We know how transparent we want to be for our customers and our partners. It is that important to know, as you said, what you're putting in your mouth, in your body, on your body, and how those products can affect you. And how, if you take a product that could be, Brad, from something else that was cheaper or a novelty, that if you're taking another medicine and it can't have any of that interacting, can trigger a reaction that could be tremendously bad for your body. That is probably 5 years ago, one of the biggest conversations that ever happened. If I take CBD, will it have an interaction with my product? Well, the answer is, can it? There is always a chance of something, right? And I won't say there's 100% guarantee, but I will say this: if it is extracted right, if it is formulated properly, if it is what it says it is in the product, natural, organic, no additives, fillers, byproducts, and it is very clean and properly designed, it won't have those interactions. And if you take them at the right times, it's important to know that what some of these receptors are responding to. So where if you are taking another medicine, maybe you're taking the medicine in the morning and you're going to take your CBD at night. Maybe you're going to take your opioid at a different time than you do. And as you said, like before, like there is a world for Xanax or alprazolam, and there are people that are going to have to take their opioids for some management, things like that. And so that there's not an abusive approach, but it does have a place that you take them at different times so that the benefits are actually at the max of what that medicine is designed to do, because CBD also can block the opioid receptor because of how it performs, where LDN also can respond directly to what that opioid receptors are. And we need to know that. Education is key. And please, I just continue to say, as Brad will say, ask questions. We will provide the support and the answers for them, from CBD side, from health and wellness side. But, Brad, from his professional side with compounding pharmacy and medicines, is you can't get a better person than Brad to do that.
You mentioned a couple of things I want to kind of circle back to. So, you need to be mindful of where you look for some of these products. And so, I don't think that necessarily a high school kid working at a health food store or a discount store is going to be able to help you determine if your CBD is going to interact with your Coumadin or not. Okay. So you need to be thinking about, while CBD is extremely safe, in the wrong dose, the wrong quantity, the wrong combination, it could cause a problem. So that's really good to be mindful of. The other thing is, and this is maybe more of a public service announcement, but, as we've all witnessed as we drive around town, many times restaurants and some businesses aren't as fully staffed as you would maybe hope, and you aren't getting the service level that you would like. There's some other pharmacies in our community that I'm hearing aren't able to fill people's prescriptions for several days. That is probably the best example I can give you of the experience we don't want you to have when you visit the medicine center. We work very hard to give you a high touch experience and try to solve your questions and answers and problems, and still meet your needs on your health and wellness and prescription and nutritional needs. Okay. So if you're currently in an environment where you're not feeling like you're getting your best value out of your pharmacy provider, please consider giving us a call or giving us a chance and stop in and talk to us. We'd be happy to have one of our staff members help you with a solution. Pharmacy and pharmacists have always been among the most accessible professions. It's probably easier to come in and talk to a pharmacist at the medicine center than to get a plumber on the phone or get an electrician on the phone or get your doctor on the phone. And I'm not dissing any one of those professions. I'm just being practical that you can walk in and you might have to wait a couple minutes if we're on the phone or we're talking to another patient, or given a vaccine in this day and age, but we can generally help you. So it's something to keep in mind. And that's maybe a little off track, but I think it's important because you pay for your health insurance or you pay for your medications and your copays. You certainly ought to get reciprocal value out of that. And you shouldn't drive up to some 3-letter pharmacy and find out you can't get your prescription for another 4 days because they're so far behind. So rant over, I'm sorry, but
No,
that's
I think that's wonderful because it goes into the same care, right? Everyone looked at the CBD space like 5 years ago, Brad, and was like, when they started seeing some of the prices from the companies that were doing it well coming out in the beginning, the first 5, 6 years, 4 years, even into the 4-year mark. And, you know, those prices, because they were doing it clean and they were doing it right, and they were using quality ingredients and products, and hemp at that point wasn't grown as frequently as it is now, and in as many places it is. So the availability was short compared to what it is now. So when you bought, you know, your oils or your products, they were very, very expensive. Those prices have come down a lot. That has helped companies that were doing it right at that time to be able to lower their prices and continue to support their partners in the retail environments, so that we were not, you know, being completely out of touch with pricing. And that's helped shift over the last 2.5 years. We've lowered our pricing, and in your store, obviously, because of you offering it, we're come down 20 to 30% across the board over the last 2 years. I think, though, what I'm going towards, what's important is that because you're buying a high level product and the cost is a little bit higher, the company should be able to provide you with that level of support. And that's what we do as well. And just as Brad said, that the medicine center pharmacies and his staff are going to do that for you. And we're going to do that as well, like we've always done, where if you call us, we will pick up the phone and we will speak directly to you. We give out our numbers and our emails to the owners of the company to be able to support you at any time, because we know how important your health is and how important it is to sometimes talk to somebody to feel comfortable about what you're going to be doing or what you're going to be spending your money on, and wanting to understand why it is priced the way that it is. And we'll take the time to do it. Where, you know, if you go buy the $20 product and no one told you anything about it and it didn't work, they don't care. They don't care all the time. They're not going to give you that level. There is two sides to what I'm saying, where there's a reason why the products are costing the way that they are. And then on the side of protecting the customer, we want to make sure that we take care of you the way that you deserve to be taken care of. So we're always going to give you that high level, top shelf, you know, experience at our company as well. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, and we're very proud of how we handle that. So, you know, I think it's a great crossover to always continuing, you know, that positive, you know, approach and taking care of the communities and our customers.
You know, I had a patient last week we talked to, and it was really interesting. And I did some reading on this, and actually I listened to Dr. Kim's presentation not too long ago, and he touched on this too. But, you know, it's basically the middle of November. We're coming to the end of the year, where a lot of people are going to start to think about some possibly some New Year's resolutions and making some healthy lifestyle changes, hopefully. Yep. And one of those things is hopefully quitting smoking if you are a smoker at this point in time. You know, one of the things that I've been really interested in hearing feedback from is how there's a potential that someone going through a smoking cessation program, they used CBD in combination, and they felt that it helped them ease some of their cravings. You know, I thought that was something that was possibly an interesting adjunct, and it makes sense to me though, because you know, maybe you've got that layer of anxiety of, I can't reach for that cigarette, or maybe it's stress. You know, it could be stress or anxiety. It depends on your point of view, depending on the time of day or the situation. But you know, I think it's a nice way to think about maybe you're using something to help you with that nicotine withdrawal. or maybe you're slowly just ratcheting it back based on how many cigarettes you might smoke a day. But it's nice to know you could possibly use something that's a healthy alternative that comes from a plant-based source, that isn't another drug that might help you cope with some of these cravings and symptoms that are often unpleasant and the hardest part to get through a smoking cessation program. So do you have anything you want to add or could add to that, Chris, in your experience?
Yeah. So when we talk about, you mentioned earlier, we talk right about pain, we talk about anxiety, we talk about stress, we talk about inflammation, we talk about arthritis, we talk about all these types of ailments, psoriasis, eczema, fibromyalgia, MS, all of these things, right? We talk about all of these different things, and even talking about something that is a bad habit that you want to break, or a routine that you might need a little bit more support towards. And that could be, whether it is smoking, alcohol, whatever it may be that you're doing, and there's something that is triggering your body to do it, right? There's something that's happening, whether it be those anxieties, or you're feeling stressed out or overwhelmed, or you're bored, or you need to go reach for something, grab for something, whatever. A lot of that has to do with being hyperactive, right? You're amped up a little bit. You're kind of itchy trigger finger, if you will, right? A lot of things are commonly connected. So when you look at the world of CBD, right, there's this iceberg that sits below the water, and the word CBD sitting at the top, or full spectrum CBD, if you will, because that's what we are. And there's something that I also put at the tip of that iceberg before it branches down. There's one word that associates with every single thing that I just said. It's the word calm. Calming things down, slowing things down, relaxing. It's calm. So what CBD allows for the body to do, those certain receptor groups, and to get that balance going where you need it, because things can be overactive, things can be underactive, things can not even be firing. What CBD is meant to do is trigger those things and balance them out. So whether it's raising it, lowering it, it's calming everything out to even the level, even the playing field, homeostasis, if you will. And it's calming. So CBD has tremendous support and benefit towards calming things down. So that word literally can associate with everything that attaches to any major issue or even small issue. We know that almost 80% of reactions that happen in your body that are negative, that are tied to some sort of health concern, are triggered by inflammation. We need to calm those inflammations down. Inflammation comes in many forms. It reacts in many ways. Stress can trigger it, anxieties can trigger it. So you can see now they're all connected. And that's why I use the word calm a lot. Calming, calm. So when you talk about someone who, may be battling, quitting, smoking, or trying to get off their Xanax or opioids, there's a connection to that world of calming things down and providing that alternative. Because a lot of times, Brad, your body, your brain and body are, even though they're in one place, they're not connected. Your body will be telling you that I want it, and your brain will be telling you no, or your brain will be telling me I want it, and the body's saying no. So there's those types of connections that CBD is able to kind of jump in the middle and say, hey, what's going on here with you guys? We got to connect, and we got to calm things down on both sides of the table. And that's why I think CBD has been so beneficial, for specific things that are tied to neurological, and then the things that are specifically tied to your body, the peripheral organs, and your overall, overall body, meaning your skin, your muscles, all of it. And that word just sticks in my head, in a very soft, easy approach to talking to somebody about what you're trying to do when you're trying to balance things out, when you're trying to bring some order to a little bit of chaos. And chaos comes in many forms. So I do believe 100% that it's beneficial to try it. I myself, for years suffered with anxieties. I couldn't even speak in front of people. I couldn't even do things like that, where I had a really hard time with it. And I had, Xanax for years and things like that, but I relied heavily on a shift of going towards taking our 25 milligram capsule and allowing it to do the work that it needed to do, giving it the time that I needed to really make that connection to my body and then get that benefit. And then ultimately not using it. So not meaning CBD, not using the Xanax, and getting everything that I needed from it. And then having the all day support where I don't feel the same anxieties that I used to, because I have balance within those receptor groups. And it does work. It's not a placebo. And if those receptor groups are misaligned, you can use it as, like you said, an adjunct into, those therapies, or, starting with it and then adding to it. Some people used to chew gum when they were trying to quit smoking. So if it's chewing gum and taking CBD and something else, that's a program, right? That's a regimen. That's what we're talking about. There's other things here. My mom did quit smoking 25 years ago, 30 years ago with chewing gum. Every time she had a craving, she would go for a piece of gum. Some people have been hypnotized, but it's finding what works for you, and CBD can be included in what can work for you.
It can really help. A lot of things we talk about tonight might be the reward cascade.
Yeah.
It might be one of those things where you don't feel good unless you go shopping, or you had a bad day. So what do? You go have a drink, or you go buy something to make yourself feel better, but it only lasts so long, which can kind of build on itself. But
yeah.
So, I guess we've talked about a number of things tonight. We've talked about healthy diets, healthier lifestyles, making changes. And, you might be overwhelmed just by thinking about a lot of the things we talked about tonight. You don't have to jump in with both feet and try everything at once. You certainly can take a stepwise approach and try to just do something different each week, or, and make small changes. You don't have to overwhelm your whole schedule. But if you, is anything you want to talk about in closing, Chris, before we wrap up? Or
just one thing.
What are we missing?
Just one. Well, we talked about, we talked about exercise, diet, sleep, pain management, anxiety, stresses, what all of that can mean to a person's overall health. So I think we touched on a tremendous amount tonight. And I think you're right. And I said this earlier when we talked in the very beginning, before we talked about Inbu stuff, is that it can be overwhelming. It can be daunting to, if you did pick up the phone and say, I want to ask some questions about what I should do, how I should approach taking supplements or an alternative medicine, CBD, whatever it may be, and how I can make some changes, less soda or less candy bars or whatever it may be. We've talked about all of that tonight. One thing in closing is, one thing that you can rely on is kind of your own choices, your own behaviors, right? Like, that you're your own boss, right? You're going to create your own results and your own positivity. You have control over that. So starting your day with one thing that, is an accomplishment, it's important to accomplish things in your day, right? You said this earlier, Brad, about shutting down and winding down your night, right? There's a process to going to sleep. Whether it's, washing your face and brushing your teeth and combing your hair, or taking a shower and getting ready for bed and calming down, having tea, whatever it may be, there's a ritual, there's a routine. Part of a ritual and a routine also starts with the beginning of your day. There's accomplishments that you want to achieve as an individual, whether it's getting up early and going for a walk, or getting up and making sure that you have breakfast, because it starts your appetite and your metabolism off right. And that's a healthy breakfast, if you will. Or one thing is, you get up in the morning and you make your bed. It's an accomplishment. It makes you feel that you're starting your day off on the right foot. I know it sounds little, but it's an achievement. And then you go from accomplishment of making your bed, and you go into the bathroom and you take care of whatever you need to do. brushing your teeth, taking a shower, whatever. And then you get dressed and you go downstairs and just start to think about each thing instead of all of it, because all of it is overwhelming.
It
Do
is.
one thing at a time. You will accomplish more in your day when you do one thing at a time. Yes, can people multitask? 100%. They're the small percentage that could just move around and do it, and it gets done. But one accomplishment at a time, slowing your world down, allowing yourself to feel good when you do something and be proud that you did it. It's important. And I think that that's what we also explain to people on the phone, is that you approach CBD the same way. People are like, I don't want to take another capsule. I don't want to take another dropper. I don't want to rub it on. Well, when it hurts you or when it bothers you, say to yourself that all I have to do is do these few things or one thing to start it and go about that accomplishment. You will be better feeling, better health, better rewarded by doing so. And then at the end of the day, you will feel like, you know what, today was a good day. I got a lot done. You know, it looks very different for a lot of different people because we all have different days. But that's my one thing in closing.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining me tonight, Chris, from Inbu Botanicals. You know, we have a full selection of Inbu's products at the pharmacy: tinctures, capsules, salves, lotions, lip balms, the gummies. You know, so if there's a dosage form that appeals to you, we can help you. If you need guidance on where to begin, we can help you. If you find out that there's other things tonight that intrigued you, we can help you with that. You know, if you're suffering from an autoimmune disease and want to learn more about LDN, I've got mountains of paperwork and articles and stories and things we can share. I mean, it's you know, the nice thing about having medication compounding as part of our pharmacy practice is it vastly increases the opportunities for solutions we can provide patients beyond what's available from the big drug companies. So we can help provide solutions, whether it be CBD or a custom compound, or even picking that right vitamin D supplement in the right dose. So we appreciate you for tuning in and listening. By all means, you're welcome to stop into any of our pharmacies and talk with our pharmacists. You know, we'll have some more information when this program is posted on our blog about how to get more information about both CBD and medications for compounding or for nutrition. So we appreciate you and thank you, and make sure that you take care of yourself and have a great evening. Thank you
so much. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, everybody.